everyone, and Bree, thank you so much for allowing me to come and present today. I really appreciate that. And like Bree said, I'm with the Small Business Administration in the Nebraska District Office, and I'm really happy that all of you are able to join us today. And I know that when you are starting a small business, one of the most important steps to starting it is to obtain financing. And it can be really difficult sometimes to obtain a traditional bank loan, and that could be for really a variety of reasons. Banks are really risk averse, so they may feel that it's too risky to loan money to you as a new entrepreneur, or maybe your credit score is not the best, or maybe you don't own assets for collateral, or you can't put down a large down payment. I mean, there's kind of a million reasons why a potential borrower might be turned down for a traditional bank loan. So today we're going to cover some of the alternative financing opportunities that you might be able to utilize. And just before we get started, I always like to highlight our Twitter account here, and just go ahead and follow us if you want to. We're at SBA_Nebraska. But I tweet out all kinds of information about upcoming events, links to our resource partners' blogs, great online content, just all kinds of things, and even some small business info from other federal agencies that you might be interested in too. So if you want to follow, just to do at SBA_Nebraska. And just again, before we get started, I just wanted to briefly highlight who we are and what we do. And if you're not familiar with us, the SBA is the only federal agency that's solely dedicated to helping small business owners start, grow, expand, and recover their small businesses. We have guaranteed loan programs that help small business owners get access to capital, and we'll talk about that. And then we also have a disaster loan program that provides long-term low-interest loans to individuals and businesses in federally declared disaster areas. We'll talk about that in a second, too. And then we also have several government contracting certifications that can help small business owners be more competitive for big contracts. And then we also provide free technical assistance, entrepreneurial education, and business mentoring through our resource partners. I wanted to just spend a couple minutes here talking about our disaster loan program. For those of you that are already in business, if you have suffered any economic losses due to COVID-19, then please do consider applying for SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loan. There is still funding available under this program. It's a 30-year, 3.75% interest rate that can be used for your working capital needs, and that includes payroll, fixed debt, rent, business mortgage, utilities, and pretty much any business expense along those lines. Just note that this loan can't be used to refinance any existing debt or to make any improvements to your existing business. And the application deadline to apply for COVID-19 related funding is December 31st of 2020. And you must have been operating prior to January 31st, 2020 in order to be eligible to apply. And then the first payment for this program is deferred for 1 year after you receive the funding, but interest will continue to accrue. Before you seek any business loan, there are some things that you need to do before you would go to the bank. One of the most important is that you have a complete and polished business plan. You'll want to have a solid financial section, and this is going to include your startup expenses like payroll, purchasing your initial inventory, rent, mortgage, setting up utilities. All those things need to be included. And it's all operating expenses and forecasted income for about the first 3 years is typically what lenders are going to want to see. You can put information in here about your break-even analysis, and you'll definitely want to include how you're planning on using your loan proceeds. I know it can be really hard to put together these types of forecasts, especially if you've never been in business before, so you can definitely utilize our resource partners for free assistance, and we'll very quickly cover those at the end. And another really important step to take before you get any kind of financing is to make sure that your own personal financials are in order. If you're heavily in debt, if you have a low credit score, or you've defaulted on loans in the past, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to be able to get a bank loan, even an SBA financing, or different kinds of alternative financing. And you may need to build up your credit score before you could get back, or before you could apply and then pay down some debt, possibly before you would start a business. And then speaking of knowing your credit score, you definitely need to know that before you would go to the bank to seek a loan. You don't want any surprises when your lender pulls your credit report, and you can check your report for free at annualcreditreport.com. Again, that's annualcreditreport.com. And usually you can get one copy of each credit bureau's report per year, but because there's been so much fraud that's running around because of COVID-19, they will now let you check for free on a weekly basis. and that's going all the way through April of 2021. So that's a really nice kind of benefit. So make sure that you're doing that. Now, I know many of you probably already know this information, but because it's a critical component to your business plan, which means it's really important to get financing, I'm just going to cover these super quickly. There's two kinds of costs that you need to identify in your financial section: your fixed costs and your variable costs. Fixed costs are expenses that you have no matter how many sales you generate each month. So these are things like rent, flat rate utilities, salaries, loan and fixed debt payments, those types of things. Variable costs are going to be associated with your sales numbers. So these would be costs like replenishing your office supplies or your supplies and raw materials for whatever you produce, postage, utilities that vary by use, and any non-salaried worker hours that might vary from week to week. So just super quick on those. And just wanted to quickly cover your break-even point as well. And just put simply, this is the amount of sales you need to make to cover all of your expenses without making a profit. In your business plan, you definitely need to know how many sales it will take to reach this point, and how many sales it will take for you to start making a take-home profit as well. So not just to break even with your business sales, but then above that, how much you're going to need to sell in order to start bringing a profit home. So just some quick information on that. So let's go ahead and talk alternative financing. Now, when I say alternative, we're basically talking about funding sources other than traditional bank loans. There's numerous options out there for this. The most basic, of course, are savings, credit card, and borrowing from your friends and family. But there's other forms out there too, and these are things like seeking investors and crowdfunding, or pursuing SBA guaranteed loans and microloans. So that is what we're going to cover today. Whether you're seeking SBA financing or a traditional bank loan, whatever, a microloan, whatever the case may be, the process is always going to involve the 5 C's. This is your credit, your collateral, commitment, character, and cash flow. Credit, that's obvious, right? It's your personal and business credit history. A lot of people, especially starting out, make the mistake in thinking that their personal credit won't be a factor in a business loan, but this really just isn't true. Banks are going to look at your personal credit as well as any business credit that you might have built up by the time that you need financing. And any bank loan is going to require collateral, including SBA guaranteed loans and microloans. Typically, collateral is going to be in the form of real estate. This could be the business that you're buying, your personal property, or any other property that you own could all be used. Banks are going to want the loan to be fully collateralized, but with SBA guarantee financing, we will take all available collateral instead of requiring full collateralization. And then microloans will take even less collateral if you don't have a whole lot to put up against the loan. You will also need to demonstrate commitment, and this is going to be in the form of a down payment. Banks usually want 30 to 40% down on average, which, depending on the amount of the loan, can be a pretty big chunk of change for you. For our loans, it's more like 10 to 20% down, and for microloans, it's even less. It's almost impossible to get any kind of financing with no down payment, so do be prepared to put down some money no matter what kind of loan that you're looking to obtain. And character is simply your background. Do you have a criminal background, criminal history? Are you currently on parole? Have you ever defaulted on loans before? Do you owe back taxes or child support? Now, none of these things are completely prohibitive of you from getting a business loan, but it can definitely hurt your chances. And for SBA guaranteed loans, some of them are prohibited. You can't be on parole. You can't have defaulted on taxes before federal loans, that type of thing. So that's what character is all about. And then lastly, banks are going to be the most interested in cash flow. And this, simply put, is your ability to repay the business loan each month. And you're going to demonstrate this in the financial section of your business plan. So let's talk about how the SBA can help you with financing. One of the most important resources that we offer are our guaranteed loan programs. Now, we don't directly lend money except in the case of our disaster loans. That is a direct loan to you as a person or to you as your business, and that's through the economic injury disaster loan program that we talked about. But our regular loan programs are not direct. They are done through the banks to you as a borrower. So the SBA will guarantee between 50 and 90% of a loan, and this means that if you default on the loan, the SBA will pay the bank back the guaranteed amount. So basically, this means that the banks might be more likely to lend to you if they're worried about a traditional bank loan for you, because we can come in and guarantee the loan, which means, again, if you default on that loan, then the bank gets at least some, if not most, of their money back. And our loans go up to $5 million, and they can be used for any legitimate business purpose, and that includes buying a business, purchasing real estate, new construction, working capital, inventory, buying equipment, all other types of basically legitimate business purposes you can use with our guaranteed loan programs. And they do have benefits to you as a borrower as well. For one thing, we cap the interest rates that the banks can use, so you never have to worry about, predatory rates or anything like that. And then we don't have any demand features on our loans. And if you read the fine print in most, if not all, bank loans, they say that the loan can be called in at any time, which means if you have 10 years to pay it back, but the bank can call you up and say, oh, guess what, you need to pay it in full in 2 or 3 weeks. That can't happen with our loans. It can never be called in early. And then we also allow for lower down payments, like we talked about, and then to have less collateral than traditional financing. And again, that's usually banks want the 30 to 40% down, and we usually require only 10 to 20% down. So that's a good benefit to you. And because SBA guaranteed loans are done through your local lending institution, you actually don't need to come here to visit us. A lot of people do, or they think that you need to get pre-approved through the SBA, and that's not true. You're going to be applying for the loan, talking about the loan programs, those types of things with your local lender. And we always suggest that you first work with one of our resource partners, and this is just to make sure that your business plan is as good as it can get before you start approaching lenders or investors. And any bank or lending institution in the U.S. can do an SBA loan. And when you go to the lender, they are actually going to decide whether or not to use a traditional loan program for you or to pursue an SBA guaranteed program. And if so, then they'll kind of make that decision on what loan program to use. But we just like to cover our programs in general so that you can go in and kind of ask those questions if your lender doesn't bring it up. So always good to just kind of have that knowledge. And if they do decide to offer you an SBA guaranteed loan program, then they'll contact us, and they work kind of behind the scenes with the SBA, but all of your dealings are going to be directly with the lender. And then for whatever reason, if the lender feels that you're not a viable candidate for either a traditional bank loan or for one of our guaranteed loan programs, then you can always try one of our microlending partners, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So these loan programs are federally backed, and that means you can't use them for just any business purpose. We do have a few things that can't be financed with an SBA loan, and again, it's because you're using federal money. So this includes casinos, anything speculative like flipping homes, and businesses that aren't really family friendly, so that kind of have that more prurient interest. And if anybody has questions about what that is, just let me know, but family friendly is kind of a good way to put it. And also our loan programs are only for-profit businesses only. So nonprofits, charities, churches, those types of organizations are not eligible. And then if you have defaulted on a federal loan program in the past, you are not eligible, and of course we won't fund anything that's considered illegal by the federal government. Our primary program is the 7A loan, and this is going to go up to $5 million, and it can be used for most small business financing needs that we've already discussed. If you borrow up to $150,000, it's an 85% guarantee. So this means if you defaulted on the loan, the SBA will pay the bank back 85% of the loan. So the bank gets most of its money back, right? If you borrow over $150,000, then the guarantee goes down to 75%. And we have long terms, so it can be up to 25 years for real estate and construction, and up to 10 years for any other type of loan. We also do lines of credit and things of that nature too, in short-term loans. There is going to be a guarantee fee of 2 to 3.5% of the guaranteed portion of the loan, so there is a little bit of a financing fee for you, but this can be rolled into your overall loan, so you don't have to come up with it right off the bat.
Elizabeth, we do have one question that came in.
Good.
Would financing for a microbrewery project be considered not family friendly?
That would be okay. The SBA does do bars. It's more, certain kind of clubs or those types of things, like anything X-rated, basically, you wouldn't be able to do. But yes, microbreweries are fine. In fact, Upstream Brewery had a microloan from us, so we've done lots of those types of things in the past. Great question. Any other questions? So let's go on. We are on the 504 program slide. So this is the SBA's other flagship loan program. This one you're going to use for anything new construction, so like building the microbrewery if you wanted to buy real estate, to do large renovations, and then to purchase fixed assets. So this program is a little bit unique because multiple entities are involved. We cover a portion of the loan up to 40%, and that's at a pretty low rate, which is great for you. I think it's, like 3 or 4% right now for our 40%. The bank is going to cover 40 to 50% in their own loan to you, and then you're going to put down 10 to 20%. So it's kind of a three-part deal there. And this is our only program that does have a job requirement attached to it. You do need to create or retain one job for every $65,000 that's borrowed. And then there's some exemptions to that if you're in a rural area. And then this loan can go up to $5 million too. We also have a streamlined program, and that's a much easier application process because you are doing this through a designated lender, and that's a lender that has applied to the SBA to achieve express loan status, which lets them use kind of their own policies, their own paperwork, their own, just kind of their own everything, even though it's an SBA guaranteed loan. So it's much faster than, say, your 7A loan in terms of actually getting your funding through. Normally, this program goes only up to $350,000, but because the impact of COVID has been so widespread, it now goes up to $1 million until December 31st, 2020. So after that, we don't know if they will extend that $1 million amount or if it will go back down to the usual $350,000. But so that's kind of a good part of this loan right now. And this loan, again, can be used for most business purposes. And this can also be a revolving line of credit up to 7 years, so you can use it for that as well. And then the guarantee for this program is a little bit less. It's actually 50%. And right now, we just found out that SBA has permanently waived the guarantee fee for any veteran, which is an awesome incentive for veterans to seek this particular kind of loan. So just the express loan, the guarantee fee is waived for veterans permanently. So super happy to announce that. We also have short-term loan programs and lines of credit that are particularly designed for working capital. So these loans are our cap lines programs, and they go up to $5 million, and they follow the same guidelines as 7A, so same credit requirements and that type of thing. And these are great for seasonal or construction companies because they can use a contract or a purchase agreement or any collateral, any receivables rather, as collateral against the loan. So you don't have to worry about pledging personal property. You can actually use the signed purchase order as collateral. And then these are really, like I said, great for anybody that uses seasonal businesses because it will give you enough working capital to be able to last for when you're not fully up and running, when you're out of season. So that's a great loan program there. We have also rolled out a quick and easy method of getting in communication with SBA lenders. So SBA designed a platform called Lender Match that helps you get matched up with participating bankers and lending institutions. It's a free online referral tool, and it connects you with lenders that are interested in funding your project. All you need to do is go to that site, LenderMatch, sba.gov/LenderMatch. You answer some pretty brief questions about your business. So you're not putting in your whole business plan. You're just entering information about your business, what you plan to do with the money, those types of things. And then that goes out to all of the participating lenders who will then contact you if they are interested in funding your project. So it's basically just kind of another way of getting in front of lenders without actually having to leave your house. So we like to promote that. It can, like we said in the very beginning, it can be really tricky sometimes for businesses to get capital. And sometimes you will get turned down for a traditional bank loan and for an SBA guaranteed loan. In these cases, we suggest that you talk to one of our partners about a microloan. And we also say that you should keep going to different banks too. We've worked with a couple of small businesses that had to go and talk to, I think the most we heard was 9 different banks before they found a bank that believed in their business plan, that thought they had a great, viable idea, and then they were able to be offered an SBA guaranteed loan. But like I said, it took 9 times to go. So the important lesson there is, don't give up. But if you do want to go for a microloan, if you don't need as much funding, or if you just have gone to a variety of different banks and for whatever reason are still getting turned down, then you can go to a microlender. And microlenders are designated for local community nonprofits to be able to provide loans for small and existing startups and existing businesses. We fund these three partners here for $50,000. To do loans up to $50,000. Now, they have their own funds where they can do higher amounts of microloans that don't involve us. So that's kind of an option for you, too. But we work with the Nebraska Enterprise Fund, the Rural Enterprise Assistance Project, and Community Development Resources. You might have a slightly higher interest rate, and you still will have the credit check, collateral requirements, and down payments involved. They just won't be as stringent as what you would see for either us or a traditional bank loan. And just to talk a little bit about the Nebraska Enterprise Fund here, they have offices in both Oakland and in Omaha, and they cover the entire state of Nebraska. They do our SBA Guaranteed microloans up to $50,000, but then they can also do microloans from $1,000 up to $150,000 using non-SBA funds. They also offer free one-on-one coaching, mentoring.
Sorry,
they can help you with
we
your
did
business.
have one question.
Yeah.
Can a startup LLC receive SBA loans?
Yeah, absolutely. Sole proprietors, LLCs, corporations. Yep, we don't limit the type of business entity. Great question.
And sorry, my internet is being weird now and cuts out. So what slide are we on?
We are on the Nebraska Enterprise Fund, which I think is slide 20.
There we go. All right. Sorry about that.
Cool. No, you're fine. I know I keep saying next slide and then I forget to advance it myself. I'm like, come on, when are you going to change it? Anyway, just kind of laughing at myself there. So back to Nebraska Enterprise Fund. Like I was saying, they can do microloans up to $150,000 of their own funds, but they also have a lot of other resources available to you, and they can sit down one-on-one with you, talk about your cash flow, finance planning. They can help you with marketing, basically any kind of small business help that you might need. Again, they won't do it for you, but they can definitely help you with that. And then they also offer a lot of free workshops on how to build your credit as well. So if that's something that you need assistance with, definitely contact NEF and they can help you out with that. And then they can also work with you if you've got collateral and credit score challenges. So they're a fantastic resource for you. The Rural Enterprise Assistance Center is also one of our micro-lending partners, and they go up to $50,000 with our funds. And then on their own, they do go up to $150,000, and they have a couple of different loan products that you can check into, and you can also apply online there at their website for loans up to $20,000. And for NEF loans, you can put a pre-application through, but I don't think you can actually apply for a loan on their website. Both with REAP, you can apply on their website. And then our third microlending partner in Nebraska is Community Development Resources, and they are based in Lincoln and cover the whole state. And in addition to our microloans, so up to $50,000, they can also go up to $100,000, and they are a designated 504 lender. So on that program that you can use for real estate and new construction and buying a building, where it's you, the bank, and then the SBA, they are one of those intermediaries that you'll be using for the 504 program. And like I said, they're located in Lincoln, and then under 504, they can go from $100,000 up to $5 million on that. And then they will also work with nonprofits too. Just wanted to spend a moment on grants, since we are always getting that question of, does the SBA offer grants? So long story short, we do not offer grants to startup businesses. Those are very hard to find, and if you do find one, they're very competitive. You can check with your local chambers or the Nebraska Department of Economic Development. Some of those organizations might have something, but as far as federal grants for SBA, we don't provide them to startup businesses. But we do provide grants to several organizations that are available to assist small businesses. And we do that for nonprofits and state organizations and such that help with providing technical assistance, so kind of those one-on-one counselings, exporting, and then innovation. So we have two areas really where we do that. We work with the SBIR and STTR programs. So that is for kind of highly technical, commercializable products that you are already starting to work on, and that is done through the SBA, but it's the Nebraska Business Development Center is your best bet for that because they can offer free assistance to you if you're interested in pursuing those funding opportunities. And it's kind of in a phased program, so it's fairly complex, but definitely is a resource that's out there for you. So you can kind of go onto those links for more information. And then we also do have a state trade expansion program, and that grant has gone to the Nebraska Department of Economic Development for, the past 7 or 8 years. So they're a fantastic resource if you want to start exporting operations, or you're already involved in exporting operations. So great resource there. And then we also do have a growth accelerator fund, and this gives grant awards for innovative and promising small business accelerators. The one that we received the 2019 award was Invest in Nebraska, and then they gave it to a agricultural incubator there. So we don't know who the 2020 recipient is yet, but so more to come on that. But you can get the link there if you want to learn more about that program. So another form of alternative financing is to seek out an angel investor. So angels, it's kind of like Shark Tank, right? You've all seen that show. So they're community members who support economic development and help to build their entrepreneurial communities. With angel investing, you're seeking funds in exchange for a percentage of ownership in the business. So there's various pros and cons to this. On the good side, you can get startup funding and you don't have to pay it back because it's not a loan, it's an investment. And they often have kind of flexible agreement terms, and they'll often mentor you and take an active role in your business. So it's more benefits beyond just the funding. But on the negative side, you are, of course, giving up a percentage of your business. So you're no longer the 100% owner. They may not make a follow-up investment, and if they do choose to take a percentage of your profits, over time it could prove to be costly. A lot of them will also expect a fast and high return on their investments, so you have to be ready to scale up really quickly using their funding, and then they also might want to be directly involved in your decision-making process. So if this is a route that you want to go, make sure that you sit down and really think a lot about it before you would go into any kind of an agreement. And just a caveat with this for giving up a percentage of ownership, if at any time you are going to be interested in going into federal contracting so that you can compete for small business set-aside contracts, you have to retain at least 51% ownership in order to qualify for those set-asides. So just keep that in mind, 51% ownership of that. So by now you've probably all heard of crowdfunding, right? It's getting to be more and more popular these days. And it's simple. It's basically just soliciting people to share their money with you, and it's usually done through the internet. There's two types of crowdfunding that you can do. You could be seeking monetary donations, which usually require you to do some sort of small gift in exchange for them sending you money or a donation. Or you could be looking at equity crowdfunding, in which case you are exchanging money, and then they're giving you money and you're giving them a percentage of ownership or shares in the company as a result. So definitely couple different places where you can do this. There's tons of them. These are just some platforms. We're not endorsing them. They're not endorsed by the SBA. It's just kind of for examples so that you can see up there anyway, or so you can see the different kind of options that might be available to you. And with the gift crowdfunding, usually the items are, you set like who you want the threshold to be. So if you donate $50 or more, then you might give someone a t-shirt with your business logo on it, something like that. That's kind of how that process works. And with the pros and cons, if you're not kind of familiar with how it works, the concept is really simple. So you're basically going online and creating a platform. So that could be videos, it could be photos of your product or of your service, kind of whatever you want it to be. And typically the more, robust, the better, because people love visuals and they love videos and audio and all that type of fun stuff. and you're just showcasing whatever business or endeavor you're trying to raise money for. You're going to set a threshold that you want to receive. For instance, let's say $50,000 in 3 months. So you get the platform up there, you say, I want $50,000 in 3 months, and then you drive people to that website and hope that they donate. So you kind of want your campaigns to go viral and, family and friends and just, get passed along. If you don't raise the entire $50,000 within that 3 months, you don't receive any money, and nobody's donations are collected. So it's all or nothing. If you do meet it and exceed it, then you'll receive whatever that amount is, so the $50,000 plus whatever else you receive. But the company that you go through will take out a funding fee and most likely financing fees as well. So that's kind of one of the cons there. It can be easier to obtain funding if you have kind of a non-traditional venture. You can use crowdfunding for that. You're also generating a lot of positive PR about your business because you're really out there selling it and you're trying to get your campaign out in front of everybody so that you can get a lot of donations. But like we talked about, a con is that it is all or nothing. So you may put all of this effort into it, and if you don't hit your threshold, then you're not going to receive anything. And then again, also with the funding fees and the processing fees. And that's usually going to be a percentage of the amount that you receive. And then two, if you set it up as a gift that you're sending out in exchange for funding, you will have to count for those costs as well. So that could be costly depending on what you offer in gifts. And I just kind of want to end today's presentation by just making you aware of all of the partner resources that we work with. And these organizations offer free business assistance, consulting, tons of educational opportunities, webinars. We always suggest that folks start with SCORE. So they have chapters statewide. We have 2 locations here in Omaha, one in Omaha and then one kind of downtown in Commerce Village. And SCORE is a national resource partner of the SBA, and they've helped more than 11 million entrepreneurs through mentoring workshops and resources since 1964. So they've been around a really long time. They've got a nationwide network of volunteers, so they can sit down with you and mentor you, help you with your business plan, basically just help get you started or help you transition your business or sell your business. They can help you with pretty much any facet of startup or business ownership. We've got chapters in Omaha, Lincoln, Columbus, Grand Island, and Scotts Bluff, and you can visit that website to find the location that's nearest you. And then if you haven't been on score.org, highly suggest you do, because they have a fantastic website with tons of webinars and online learning modules, all kinds of templates, including financial statements and templates for projections and forecasts. And just a huge amount of information there, and it's all free through their website. So definitely check that out. And they are also doing remote mentoring right now too. So if for some reason, if you didn't want to request a local mentor, then you could go on to the score.org website and check out remote mentoring too. So that's an option for you. The Nebraska Business Development Center is also an official national partner of the SBA. And they also have offices throughout the state, and they provide basic business services free of charge. And these services are things like market research, helping you with your business plan. They're really good at helping you put the financials together, and part of what they do is help banks with packaging SBA loans, so they're really good at knowing what needs to really go into those packages and what the banks are looking for. And they can give you general business consulting, help you get into exporting. They can work with you on the SBIR program that we talked about earlier. So they can help you with all of that. And then they are, like SCORE, they can help you with anything through the life cycle of your business. So regardless of what stage your business might be in. And then they also have additional services that they offer, like business valuation. They have a ton of advanced educational classes, lean certifications, those types of things, and exit planning, but they do charge a fee for that. But anything for basic business assistance and startup assistance is going to be free of charge. And we already mentioned REAP, but I just wanted to highlight they do more than just microloans. They also have a women's business center, a Latino business center. They can give you business assistance too with your business plans, marketing management. They can help you with, accounting, QuickBooks, those type of things. And then they do workshops and webinars throughout Nebraska as well. And one of the great facets about these folks is that they have an office without walls concept. So because they cover basically everywhere except for Omaha and Lincoln. Like, that's a huge geographical area. So they have consultants and employees and folks kind of stationed throughout Nebraska that will go to you. So they can go to your house or a coffee shop, or they can go to your place of business and help you. So you don't have to worry about, gosh, the nearest one is 3 hours away, because they can actually come to you. So great opportunity for you there. And then their services are free. And most of their webinars are free too. And if they're not free, then it's a pretty nominal cost. So great resource for you there. So that is the end of our formal presentation. I wanted to make sure that we left enough time if anybody has any questions.
We did have one question come in. If you've already got a business started, where might be a good opportunity to look for grants?
For federal grants, it's going to be grants.gov. Those are for all federal grants. Again, that won't be for kind of your, like, it depends on what kind of business you are, right? So if you're like an auto body shop or a restaurant or a bar or something along those lines, quite honestly, it's going to be difficult for you to get grants. If you are a company that's very high tech, heavy into R&D, you've got a great product that's really commercializable, then I would suggest talking to NBDC about their SBIR and STTR program to see if you could get grant funding that way. If you are a veteran, you just kind of keep an eye on social media and those types of sources. Every so often, there'll be veteran grants available through companies like perhaps UPS, or I think FedEx has done them in the past. So just be open to opportunities like that. But in terms of just kind of your basic, here's $5,000 to run your business, those are going to be really pretty rare. They're out there, so keep an eye on your local chambers, the state, those types of things. But in terms of SBA, we don't do kind of those startup grants. We would just do it through those resources that we talked about. But keep your eye open. I mean, things do pop up here and there. That's a great question. And you've got my contact info too, so feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm happy to chat with you.
If anybody is interested in any copy of the presentation, we can also send that out today.
Yes.
All right. Well, before we end, are there any last questions? Oh, let's see. I have a hand raised. Does not look like there's any other questions. Well, Elizabeth, thank you for coming and talking with us today. Thanks for everybody who came in. Sorry it was a little disjointed because of tech issues. We are recording this though, and we can get that out on our YouTube channel in the next couple of days. And for those of you who have emailed me or who have said in chat that you're interested in slides, I will definitely get them sent out. Unless there are any more questions, I think we're going to go for today. Give folks a second. All right. Well, everybody
thanks
have
again
a really
to everybody
good day.
for joining.
And again, Elizabeth, thank you for coming and talking with us.
Thanks for having me.